I hope my hand is steady enough for you guys. What's up? It's Naisha from Black Girl in the ROK. Today we're going to be talking about depression in China. So, depression in China. I know this might be a little bit random, but I was kind of prompted to maybe touch on this subject a little bit because one of my viewers asked me a question and they were like, you look kind of sad in a lot of your videos and you're kind of always alone. Which I don't think I'm kind of always alone, but I can definitely see how someone might look at my videos and think that I'm sad or what have you, because a lot of times I am sad. I've battled depression for a very long time, probably my whole life, to be quite honest with you. So things have gotten a lot better in recent years because I've learned different ways of coping, but not really, kind of. But am I sad here? Someone else asked me, Ni hao. Someone else asked me if I like my life here in China, and it's kind of like a mixed bag, to be quite honest. I kind of do like my life, and then I kind of don't like my life here. I think I like what I can attain and acquire by living here, if that makes any sense. I like the fact that I make a decent wage here, cheap here, but there are some things that I can't get here that I really would love and I think that are really lacking in my life. So it's kind of hard for me to say that I really, like my life and to the fullest extent of what it could be, because I do feel like there are certain things that are lacking with my life. Now I know that there's also this thing about making the best of your circumstances and being happy with what you have, and I've definitely made strides to be a little bit more grateful for the life that I do have, because I don't live an opulent life, but I do for the most part probably live a very privileged life, especially compared to some of the people back home where I'm from, compared to some of the Chinese people that I meet, and just people in general in the world. There are people that can never dream of doing some of the things that I do, and I do understand that I'm very lucky and I have a lot of privilege and a lot of the things that I've been able to do and acquire, and the experiences that I've had. However, you can't, it's hard sometimes to overcome things that have held you back and that have kind of gotten in the way of you, if that makes any sense. I do feel kind of lonely here. I've been single since like 2011. I think since I graduated from college was the last time I had a real relationship here. And for instance, I talked about in my other video, dating is really hard. I want to point, and then maybe if I get my editing skills up by whenever, there'll be like a hyperlink to the old video. If not, it's going to be in the description box. So, but what I was saying is that it's hard to like do things like dating here because Shanghai is a very big hookup culture, and also even with making friends, you make friends and it's a lot easier these days to keep up and keep in touch because of technology. However, this is a very transient city, so people come, people go. I've met people that I've forged friendships with who, we were cool and then they left. Like, everyone doesn't even stay here for a year, for instance. And then, everyone doesn't treat friendships the same way. Some people are used to having temporary friends. So for instance, you might have a friend who you guys are really cool and close and tight with here, but when that friend leaves, maybe you don't hear from them as much or at all. That's how some people are, and that's just what it is. So it can be hard to forge long-lasting bonds here, in my opinion. But I have made some friends, and in general, for me personally, I'm the type of person that I'm kind of really standoffish until I get to know you, to be quite honest. So, and I also tend to kind of latch on to specific people and then kind of make really intense friendships, if that makes sense. So I do have friends, But a lot of my friends, I've lived in San Francisco, I lived in New York, I've lived in Amsterdam, I've lived here, lived in Korea. A lot of my friends don't live here, and being here for even almost 2 years, as an adult, you're not always making true blue friends, as you once were in college or in grade school. What else? So when I was growing up, I lived in a very anxious, abusive atmosphere pretty much all of my life, to be quite honest. It just in different ways. And I had a lot of traumatic things happen to me. So as an adult, you try to work through those things the best way you can. However, when you grow up and you're not really equipped with the tools, and then your parents aren't equipped, it's kind of like you're at like you have like a learning curve almost in how to treat yourself, how to treat others, how you want to be treated, how you should feel, all these different things. It's funny because I just had a conversation with a friend who was saying that I seem to expect the worst. And that's true, because for so long in my life, it was always the worst. So in order, probably as a defense mechanism, I probably kind of developed this thing where I didn't want to get too close to people, or you expect the worst, so you won't be let down, things like that. The medication I used when I was younger, I don't know if it even really worked, because I was still living in this toxic environment. So what good is some medication if you're still living in a toxic environment? I've made strides now. I'm not on any medication, but I've made strides as far as trying to control my anger. I have a really big anger issue. I get very angry very quickly. It goes from like 0 to 100. It's hard for me to control my anger, but it has gotten better in recent years, which is telling and kind of sad, because it's still prevalent and it's still a big issue in my life, because my personality completely changes once I'm angry. But I've had to learn, and I'm still learning, that when I get angry, I need to just be quiet, like completely, like just not say anything, and just be kind of like, this too shall pass, or what have you. But when things anger me, it makes me go back to this feeling that I had as a voiceless child, as a voiceless teenager who was being bullied and ridiculed, not just by friends or people at school, I'm talking about family, and mistreated a lot. So it brings me back to this time where I felt very voiceless. And I always think in my mind, no one's listening to me, no one hears me, why isn't anyone listening to me? So I have to really remember that I'm not 5 anymore, I'm not 8 anymore, I'm not 15 anymore. This person is not trying to, put me down or make me feel inferior. This person is not that person, or those people who are doing those things to me. So I try to remember that, and I try to also do other things, journaling, doing things that, journaling. I try to do other things to help myself with my anger, my depression, journaling, having hobbies, exercising helps. Exercise, they say it's supposed to increase the endorphins in your body, in your mind, or what have you, and, the happy thoughts and things like that. So I try to do those things, and it kind of helps a little bit. So I do have friends, and I'm not just sitting in the house moping around all the time. So don't think that. But I just thought I would address that, because it can be very lonely here, and it can be very isolating. You're very far away. You're in a culture that is not your own. I look different than the people, than anything these people have seen before. So there's that, pointing, staring, questions. So many different things come at you from so many different angles sometimes. But I guess that's life. But please let me know if you have ever struggled with depression, or, getting the sad feelings or what have you, and what you use to cope with your feelings. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.